person that needs protecting should not be the
Yes.
person with
Oh yeah, say something.
Hello. Hello.
Ask if they can hear you.
If they can hear you, obviously they can.
Hello.
How do you use this? How do you use it?
Yeah.
No worries. It's Gorilla Glass.
It's Samsung.
That's
You
why I'm
cannot
always
play.
There's always been this school glasses.
Say something, say something.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
They said we can hear you. The person said we can hear you. Somebody online.
No.
Who is this
Hello.
person?
They can hear.
And I'm suspecting you.
Look here. Look here.
This is better. So let me write the panels. Yeah, just do intro. That this is continuation from the last class. If they can hear me. No worry, just continue.
Can I start? So good evening, everybody. You are welcome to our agronomy and knowledge sharing class. So today we are going live for the first time. For our online viewers, you are welcome to our class. This is where we share our knowledge on how we grow and our various process of growing here on soil. So earlier this week, we started with a topic called tomato diseases. So we started with bacterial diseases for tomato. We talked about bacterial spots, we talked about bacterial speck, and we also discussed other diseases caused by bacteria. And it was done by a member of cohort 8. So today is the continuation of the class. I'm going to invite a member from cohort 8 to come and continue from where he stopped earlier this week. So, Mr. Wisdom, you can come and take over. Please, a round of applause for him as he joins.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay. I would like to do a quick recap. Okay, I would like to do. Sorry. I would like to do a quick recap from our last class for those who were not with us in the last class. And we actually talked about bacterial diseases of tomatoes. And we have about 9 of them to talk about. So we actually treated 3. And then we are on the last one before the question segment. One of the one we started with bacterial canker. And then the next one on our list was bacterial speck. The next one on our list was bacterial spot. And then bacterial stem rot. So I think that was where we stopped the last class. So I'll do a quick recap. For those of us, please just scroll up to the first slide. Okay, I would like to just make a particular note so that maybe when you get back to your various farm, you can easily identify which is which, so that you will not see bacterial canker and think that is bacterial spot. There are significant symptoms that differentiate each of these bacterial diseases of tomatoes. For the bacterial canker, one of the symptoms that you use to know that bacterial canker have actually infested your field or your farm is actually from the leaves. You will see the margin of the leaves dying off easily. That's what we call necrosis of the leaves. So with this yellowing side, with the dark part is the marginal chlorosis of the leaves. That's one of the signs you use to know that bacterial canker is on the field. Then another is bacterial speck. So we'll move to bacterial speck. And then, please, of course. One of the things also you notice that bacterial canker is in the field is we talked about half of the leaves, that is longitudinal section of the leaves, withering away. This is what we talked about. You see a unilateral wilting. you find out that half of your leaf just started wilting. You should note that bacterial canker has actually infested your field. Then you also notice, we talked about exudates coming out from your plants. When you begin to see such kind of things on your plants, just know that these are one of the symptoms of bacterial canker. And then maybe when you take them to a lab or to an agronomist, and then they take some parts of those plants and cut half into it, you will notice something like this of the plant. That's the pit where the nutrients and water goes through to the various parts of the plant. They begin to die. And then you also notice, we talked about the adventitious roots growing on the stem axis of your plant. Once you begin to see such kind of things, you know that bacterial canker is actually in the field. So we move over to the next one. Okay, sorry sir, please. We also talked about these signs, that is a dead eye on your fruits. When your fruits actually matures and you begin to see such kind of things, a dead eye, talk about the yellowing around the white spots on the fruits, you begin to note that on the ripe fruits, you begin to know that bacterial canker have actually attacked your plants. And then when you cut a longitudinal section of your crop, you notice some of the part of the inward part of the plant is actually dying off. You just know that bacterial canker has actually infested your crop. Can go up, sir. Then we moved over to bacterial speck. One of the significant things about bacterial speck is you will notice like a greasy surface on your leaf. A greasy surface on your leaf. Once you get to your field, and then you notice that the leaf is looking as if you rub or rub that bacterial speck. You just know. And then one of the things that differentiates bacterial speck from the other one is it has spots. And then these spots, they tend to come together. When they come together, they begin to create more damage. That leaves begin to die. We also talked about it looks like the other one has to do with firing. The other one just dries up. It just dries up from the margin. Everything just starts drying up. But this one starts with spots. Once you start seeing all those spots, they begin to join together. Before you know, they kill these leaves. And once they are done with it, they move on to the next one. So that is one of the symptoms that separate that one from this. Then we move over to the next one. Move over to the bacterial spot. What differentiates this bacterial spot from what we actually talked about bacterial speck is this one has a greasy surface. Why this one look as if you dipped it inside the water? So why this one look as if like you can see the difference? That one is oily, but this one looks lighter, and then the yellow is not as yellow as the other one. So and then you find out that this one, the spots in the leaves is not as dark as the other one. This one is lighter, and then once they dry up, they begin to break. Like those dark spots, these places, these brown spots on the leaf, they begin to break. So once you touch it and it breaks, you know that this is bacterial spot on your tomato farm. So you scrub. So sorry sir, please come down a little. So you see what I'm talking about? They are like pimples on the leaves. So once you begin to notice this, the other one has to do with small spots that begins to join together. They have darker spots, but this one is like a little bit more brown. Yes, that is what differentiates the spot from the speck. Okay, Samuel. Go. Okay, and then this one, you also find this on. We talked about the petals. That is what connects the leaf to the stem. You find these things, those spots. You find those spots on also the petals and even on the stems of the plant. Move up, sir. So we moved over to. It can also attack the fruits. You see what I ordered versus what I received. So you begin to spot the difference. This thing, when they attack the fruit, they can even sunk into the fruit tip. That you damage the whole fruit, you can't even eat it again. Except maybe you have to eat just a little portion of it. Sir, move up. Okay, then we will now get over to bacterial stem rods. So this is actually where we'll continue for today. So bacterial stem rods. These are the causal agents of bacterial stem rods. Tentobacterium cartivorium. That's the causal agent. That's one of the causal agents for bacterial stem growth. And then we have it distributed in different parts of the world. The first species is distributed worldwide, while the other species have specific countries where they actually thrive very, very well, maybe due to their weather condition. Then one of the symptoms about manifest as wilting in plants, mature green plants. Once you notice that your plant, you came to the farm in the morning and then your plant is double, they just double, they just know that they have come, village people are fine. Then you notice that a full mature green plant just like that, just double. You just notice that your plant starts wilting. A full grown plant just wilted. You just know that bacterial stem growth is in the farm. So he said, in plants with mature green fruits ready for harvest, say cross section cuts through the stem. Usually reveal that these tissues has rotted away. So when you get to the field and then maybe you notice something like this on the picture, and then one of the things you note is the pit. I talked about the pit. The pit is actually the tissue inside of the tomato stem that actually help with water and nutrient movement to the various parts of the plant. So one of the things that this bacteria does is it attacks that particular pit that helps the movement of nutrients and water, and then it causes necrosis. Once that pit dies off, that bacteria have won the fight. So it's a cut section through the stem. Usually means that the pit tissue have rotted away and is no longer present. That place becomes empty. That bacteria eats up what is inside of the stem. So that place becomes empty. Instead, the stem is hollow. The surface of the stem is slimy and soft. Soft rot bacteria that destroy the pit. Once you touch the plants, you get to the farm, you touch your plants, and you find out that it's like if they poured oil and the thing is now slimy. If you notice, maybe you've noticed when you poured oil on bread and then you touch it, that looks as if it's just sliding. And you find such kind of thing on your plants, know that bacterial stem growth have actually attacked your plants. Then it also talked about bacterial stem growth can also manifest as dark brown or black lesion on stem surface. When you begin to notice your plant becomes dark brown, that's the stem becomes dark brown, and then damages on the stem surface. Once you begin to notice something like this, you just know that bacterial stem growth is on the field. So this lesion can quickly elongate along stem. That is, they spread very fast. They spread very fast. Later, the epidermis and vascular tissue sloughs off to reveal a hollow stem. That means this part of this, the plant, the epidermis and the vascular tissue that help with nutrient movement and water movement, they just sloughs off. As they just open and then the hollow stem, you just begin to see that the plant is empty. So one of the conditions, most of the conditions that help this disease to thrive is that there's a wide range of these among vegetables. There's this causal agent, Pectobacterium carvotarium, can survive a long period in soil, plant debris and water. Both field-grown and greenhouse-grown tomatoes can develop bacterial stem growth. So it can thrive anywhere, both inside your greenhouse, even in the screenhouse, it can thrive there. Tomatoes grown on trellis or in protected culture are managed very differently than processing tomato or fresh market tomatoes that are not trellis or stake. So what this is saying is that some of the diseases can actually thrive. When you are staking, you can actually injure your plant, and then this disease can thrive from there, it can get into the plant. And then maybe when you are staking, you stake it very tight. Before you know, you tighten the stem of your tomatoes. And then if the disease is present in the farm, before you know it finds its way into the plant. And that's how the date comes. The tomatoes grown on trellis protected culture of pasture. Cultivation of trellis grown tomatoes or tomatoes grown in protected culture requires activities, pruning, tying and staking plants that can create wounds that allow this particular causal agent to infect and spread within the crops. So one of these causal agents occurs by splashing rain irrigation water, tools, equipment, workers, and insects. So it's telling us the things that actually help this disease to thrive. Through irrigation, when you practice spraying instead of drip irrigation, you can actually introduce them through water, through the tools you use in pruning. Maybe you didn't sterilize your scissors and then you just use it to prune. Before you know, this disease can actually infest in the crop and then they kills it off. So you also talked about rainwater. Once it rains, the next thing you have to do as a farmer is to spray, so that to prevent your plants from having this guy infest them. So I also talked about was shown to survive under roof gutters, where it was splashed onto plants that contaminated water. Growing condition is protected culture that fuels this bacterial growth, include high relative humidity and free moisture on plant. So when the weather is very cold, it actually helps this bacteria to thrive very well in your farm. Then one of the control measures as a farmer you need to implement, the number one I'll be talking about is getting the right seedlings. Once you can get the right certified seedlings, you can actually get it right. That is, you've actually taken one of the bold steps. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. That journey of 1,000 miles as a farmer begins with you getting the right seeds. So once you don't get it right from your seed, you have actually gotten it wrong. So you say implement a comprehensive sanitation program for workers. That's why the agronomy team have always been shouting, always keep your house clean, always keep your surroundings neat, because those weeds around can actually house this guy. Even though that this guy doesn't have any much effect on them, but once they get on your plants, they can cause a lot of havoc. These plants, when the foliage is wilt, immediately finish reading, that is when you want to go and trade. Send you to the village. So another, once you notice that this thing has infected your plant, you say you want to prune, you sterilize all the things and follow all the procedures. As you are pruning them, you are taking them out immediately. From my senior colleague, they taught us why you are pruning, you get a sack. As you are pruning them, you are putting them inside. As you are going outside, you are going out with them and take them very far away to throw them away. Don't throw them near your neighbor's house, because if you enter your neighbor's house, it is not far away from your house. It comes back. So he said, when you implement this and then prune every crop residue in protected operation, provide adequate air circulation to. So this actually when it's times you fertigate, you have to let the crop breathe. Don't. This actually the pictorial image of what this bacteria does on the plant. So this is actually the pitch new process I was talking about. This is the pitch, the vascular tissues that help movement of water and nutrients to different various parts of the plant. So when you cut the plant into like the stem, this is exactly what you see. Once you see a kind of such kind of thing, you know that bacteria stem cells have actually infected the plant. So this actually is. So this is when you say the plant is hollow, which means the pits, the vascular tissues that is supposed to be within them has actually been eaten off by these bacteria. They move up. This is what the fruit will look like when this bacteria actually comes and then take over, becomes a new landlord in your farm. This is actually what you have. Then we move on to the next one, which is bacterial wilt. This actually the causal agent for bacterial wilt, Ralstonia pseudosalus Riemann. So this is actually the causal agent for this disease. So one of the symptoms, they actually have different causal agents for these diseases. One of the symptoms on the onset is beginning, your lower lips will first of all they will bow down. You know that the organ have entered. Once you see that your lower lips start bowing down, start doubling, then you know that you don't come. Soon after, by rooting of the entire plant, this one will not come and be showing you yellow card. It will not show you yellow card. It will not show you. To just show you red card. Everything will just die off instantly. So everything will just wilt. There are no foliar yellowing associated with this wilt disease. So everything will just, and in an instant, just wilt. So the person just washed hand and cooked a very nice food for the disease. Sorry, sir. Go. A longitudinal section of stem revealed a yellow to light brown vascular discoloration. So when you cut your plant into two, you will notice a yellow, light brown vascular discoloration, which may later turn dark brown or hollow in the stem completely as disease progresses. So depending on the stage of the disease outbreak, this is actually the symptoms you will see on your plants. So if bacteria will ooze out from the stem. So this actually, if you want to know whether it's actually this disease that actually caused this plant to die, maybe you're not doing an investigation after the death of the plant. So you'll be sure. So that maybe if you are planting the next planting season, you will now know what variety to plant in this particular place. Because you know that once this guy comes, he doesn't show you yellow card, he just kills everything. So one of the control measures is, when possible, avoid land with a history of bacterial wilt. So that's why it's advised before you plant, you do your research properly. So you do a very thorough research about that particular area of land. You do your survey. They say ensure transplants are disease-free and grow hybrid variety with resistance to bacterial wilt. So from the very onset, we've talked about you getting the right seeds. So when you get the right seed coated with the right disease-resistant, sorry, I'm just finding the right term to use for it. When you get a seed coated with maybe the right bacticide, yeah. When you get a seed coated with the right bacticide or the right pesticide, it will actually reduce the damage that this disease or this pest will cause in your plant. So we say ensure transplants are disease-free and grow hybrid variety with resistance to bacterial wilt or graft onto resistant rootstock. Transplant onto raised bed. Do not just dig hole like on the flat ground. You just bury your soil. You just bury your seed soil. You say transplant onto raised bed. Manage soil moisture content, including drainage of water away from roots, and control weed that may serve as a synthetic host of these bacteria to reduce incidence and severity of bacterial wilt. So it's actually telling us here that to control weed, because these guys can actually be a partner. They can partner with these diseases and then they will wreak havoc on your farm. So let's also talk about soil fumigation or solarization. There's a place for you sterilizing your substrates. Either we sterilize some of our substrates with hydrogen peroxide or molasses. So the uncover cropping or crop rotation to a non-host species can reduce incidence of bacterial wilt in some situations. So you doing your own and then know that you have done the right thing. You are definitely going to get the right results. Even though sometimes this thing might come unexpectedly, but at least when you take the right step, you are sure about getting percent return from your investment. That's cool. So this is actually a pictorial, sorry. Okay, this is actually and doing well. All of a sudden they just double it. All of a sudden you now be asking yourself how. This is actually the hollow it causes inside of the stem of the plant. So this actually, when they say you should cut and then give it to water, you will notice something like this. So this is actually investigation after death. Yeah. So this is. So we move on to the next one. Pit necrosis. Pit necrosis is just like just like that bacterial wilt, because this now has to do with the vascular tissue we talked about earlier. So these are the causal agents. So Pseudomonas chicory. So this is actually Pseudomonas chicory. These are actually the causal agents. So and they are known worldwide. So they have traveled around the world. They are good travelers. They can travel from countries to country without visa. So one of the symptoms is that foliar symptoms begin at yellowing and wilting of young leaves in the upper portion of the plant. As disease advances, a dark brown or black damage form on stem. So this guy actually hits the stem. It doesn't just go for the leaf, it hits both the stem. So it's a goes for the stem, which causes wilting and may lead to plant death if the lower stem is affected. A longitudinal section of a stem lesion that's damaged may reveal dark brown discoloration of pitch and vascular tissue. So you find out that your stem begin to change color. Instead of it to do bleaching to turn yellow, it will now be turning black. It's no longer using bleaching cream. So I've entered another thing. So you said the discoloration of the pitch and the vascular tissue. Stem may contain hollow or segmented cavity. That means the stem, when you cut it open, becomes empty. So there is no longer anything inside, which means the plant can no longer uptake nutrients from the soil or your substrate. And that's how the plant begins to die. So you say adventitious roots often develop along stem where the pitch tissue is affected. So you find out that the root that was supposed to be inside the soil, another root from nowhere, the spiritual root now is now becoming physical on your plants. You begin to see roots from the village growing on your plant. Then you know that this guy don't show. So the condition for this disease to develop, there's a condition that helps this pitch necrosis to thrive. He said, though pitch necrosis occurs in field-grown tomatoes, it is much of a greater importance in protected culture, that is in your greenhouses. Disease outbreaks have been associated with cold nights and warm day temperature. This one of the things that help this disease to thrive is maybe you have a shorter day, and that shorter day is like maybe rain fell through that shorter day, and then the night was very long and it's still very cold. It's actually helped this guy to thrive very, very well. So warm day temperature, high humidity, that means the atmosphere is filled with so much water, so much vapor, and excessive nitrogen fertilization, because you want your plant to be fresh and evergreen. You are now pumping it with so much nitrogen. It can actually help this disease to thrive. You see, on the onset of these symptoms often occur when fruits reach the mature green stage, especially if plants are too vegetative. So these bacteria survive very well as pathogen on alternate hosts. Say on the onset, the symptoms often occur when fruits reach the mature green. So this thing actually waits for the fruits to get to that mature stage where you now be hoping for your 2 kg, and then they will not shock you. So especially the plants are very busy when they have so much seeds on them. So these bacteria survive very well as pathogen on alternate hosts, in tomato debris, in soil, and as epiphytes for host and non-host species. So they can thrive anywhere. They can thrive anywhere. See, the spread of these bacteria occur by splashing of rain and irrigation water or contaminated pruning tools and equipment, and workers' hands. Before you harvest, you should wash your hand, or better still, wear gloves, because you can actually transmit these bacteria to your plants. It not necessarily must be weed, it must not necessarily be the cutting tools. It can be you. You can actually introduce it to them. So we say implement a comprehensive hygiene program. So that's why it is advised when you are coming from your houses or from the hostel, you should take a proper sanitation personally first, so that you will not be the one giving yourself poison and then thinking that it was from the village, while you are the chief of your own mischief. So he said implement a comprehensive hygiene program for workers and sanitize pruning tools for other equipment to minimize disease spread. So bath well, because your plants need you to smell nice. So don't be the one carrying an atmosphere. Then your plants will not be Jesus, oh my Lord. Say avoid working with plants when they are wet, as workers can easily spread bacteria to adjacent plants. So you are now the one bringing in this disease to them. So it's not even the weeds, because you are taking out the weeds, you have sanitized your tools and everything. So you need to dress well, like maybe take on like lab coat or something somewhere, better still, that you know that is neat. You can use that as a preventive measure instead of you now being the one killing your own self. In protected culture production, avoid practices that favor increased vegetative growth, such as excess nitrogen and high humidity. So you should know when to switch your nutrient that you're giving your plants. So because these nutrients can actually become toxic to them at a particular stage. So this is actually the pictorial longitudinal cut on the stem. This is what it looks like. So these actually the adventitious fruits we're talking about. So you find out these kind of things on your plant. That's when you know that the Baba have shown. It's now on your plant. You are now the king. So this is actually the stem. Yeah. Move to the next one. Silage yellow and vein graining. So this is another disease of tomato. It's a bacterial disease of tomato. So the causal agent of silage yellow is a bacteria coceri. So this is one of the causal agents of this bacterial disease. He said some of them are known worldwide, while some are known in few major parts of the country, different countries in Europe, New Zealand, and North America. But Nigeria is not here, but it's in Nigeria. So one of the symptoms you notice is by your plants. Say they are induced by toxins excreted when tomato seed feed on plant tissues. So when these guys, just like thrips on our bell, so when they begin to feed on your plants, they begin to excrete toxins. Just like thrips, they begin to excrete honeydews. So when that honeydews, they begin to cause mold on your bells. Before you know now, the bells don't have the issue. So one of these things that I do is they excrete toxins. These insects excrete toxins on your plant after they finish feeding. Imagine you are feeding your enemy and your enemy is still killing you. So this is actually what it does. Say intravenous floral fluorosis is the primary symptoms associated with silage yellow. So you find out that your leaves on the lines that is on the vein, they begin to become yellow. Yes, some of the leaves begin to turn yellow instead of green. So these associated with it. Yellowing of leaves appear first on older leaves, but may also be expressed in younger leaves if the seed population is not controlled. Just like thrips, if they enter your farm and you don't control them to a particular level, they can send you packing, they can send you to the village or out of soil. So, but you may also be expressed in younger leaves if the seed population is not controlled. So, you spraying rightly is not just like pouring perfume on your plant. And then because minimize its influence, you minimize the disease outbreak. Thank you so much for your time.
This is a round of applause for me. Thank you very much, Mr. Wisdom, for educating us on various diseases, on various bacterial diseases. Now, before we even talk about disease, we need to consider something. For disease to affect your plant, there is what we call triangle of disease. Now, there must be an host, there must be a pathogen, and there must be a conducive environment for that disease to work, to thrive. So that is why it was mentioning condition for what? Disease development. That is part of the environment. The pathogen is what is affecting the plant, while the host is what? The plant. So you need to consider those three triangles. Now I will welcome questions from the house and even questions online. So do anybody have any question?
Good evening once again. Because of this live, just to chip in. What are we learning today? Just one thing. I don't want it to be the regular come and go. Last class I said come with your notes. So just one thing, even if it is the botanical and biological name. Quote 7, quote 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just one thing. What have we learned? I wanted to give you an intro. Yes.
Sir, what I learned is the rainwater. This is
that a rainwater splash can actually cause infection on the plants, that it should be sprayed every time. Once the rain splashes on the infected areas of the plant, so we should spray every time. So,
So that's a good one. That's more like the rainwater splashes on it rains on the soil, then the soil splashes on the plant. Now, there is one very important pathogen that was mentioned, and that is bacterial wilts. Now, for wilts, it's fine. I'm sorry. It's okay like this. For wilts, we discussed bacterial wilts, have we? Then it also mentioned something that causes wilts. What is that? That causes wilts. They mentioned canker. Now, aside from that, we have several other things that can cause wilts. One of the things is even yourself. You know the times you are in, your plant needs water. Now, if you are the type that you feed in the morning, then it takes you another 48 hours to open water for your plants. Indirectly, you are exposing your plant to what? To wilts. Now, for bacterial wilts, we talked about the cure, right? There is no commercial variety. Cannot say of experimental ones. There is no commercial variety that is resistant to bacterial wilts. What you can do is you can control the bacteria. And how can you control bacteria? You control the environment with which they grow. Who can tell me one of the best pH for bacterial growth? Just to tweak the conversations to see if I have issues, and that's the only soil you have to grow. If you have that you know are susceptible to bacterial roots and you must plant on that soil, what do you do? Few people know this thing. You do what? Okay, you do your soil test. When you do your soil test, then you get maybe pH of 1, 2, 3. What do you do? So for bacteria, they like acidic environments, just like it. For those that have notes, please write, because it's going to help you. They like acidic environments, meaning even if it has that intermediate resistance or even high resistance, and you plant it in soil that is highly acidic, the chances of you having wilt cases will be very high. So what we tend to do is we try to tweak the environment. You raise the pH of the soil. When you raise the pH, the environment with which the bacteria want to grow in is not what? Is not more conducive. That means you reduce their mobility. Even if they were to be there in their thousands, you've reduced it to 500. They will still be there, but you've reduced the effectiveness of their vitality. So after raising the pH, you then do the regular management practices. You don't prune when you ought not to prune, because it is very easy to prune with scissors, and maybe due to negligence, you prune the one that has been infected, then you do not sterilize your scissors. You then use it to cut or prune another, or leave another one that is healthy. You transfer it like that. That is why for cohort 9, we have cohort 9 in the house, and for cohort 9 and 8, we did not advise you to prune your tomatoes. because of situations like this. It is very hard to control you people when you are much. But when you are reduced a bit, then we know that even if you are having internal problems, we can easily solve it. Did you get that trick?
Yes, sir.
So if you're having soil that you're having Ralstonia, just increase the pH. After increasing the pH, there is something that will happen to that your plant. It will be highly deficient in micronutrients. We've not talked about micronutrients, have we? Now, for micronutrient deficiency, your plants will be very deficient. What you then do is spray with micronutrients. You know there's, okay, yes, we talked about, you know there's a spectrum for nutrient availability to plants. You have 4, you have 5, then you have 6, you have 7. The one that is mostly available at that spectrum of 4 are your iron and coal. But when you rate it up, they become very, normally they are not mobile. So they become very, very immobile. So what you then do is you keep spraying them micronutrients. So that's just takeaway for today's class. Questions on that? Please. I think the question is, yes, it will affect. If you're having a bad tomato or wilting tomato, you cut the sucker. There is no way, you know the way it works. It's already in the system of the plant. You carry it, you plant it, definitely you have roots of plants. It will never, there's a second one.
Okay. The second question is, what are prevention agents that can be used to prevent tomato wilt and tomato leaf curling virus? Okay. The question is, what are prevention agents that can be used to prevent tomato wilt and tomato leaf curling virus?
Again, work on the environment. Make it very uncomfortable for this bacteria to live. If you do this first, you want, the last time I talked about the art of war, you know your enemy, you control the environment. You want 50%. Then every other thing is use good variety of seeds. Then for the yellow leaf color, now during this time when you have high incidence of white flies, what you want to do is, your IPM has to be very strong. Integrated pest management. You just have to understand the life cycle of this your pest. If you can understand it, then you are fine. There are times where your windows of spraying, don't worry, we'll talk about windows of spraying. The windows of spraying a particular active ingredient is just 3 weeks. Then the time you reduce it to 2 weeks, that's for chemical sprays. You reduce it to 2 weeks around this period where the sun, the heat is everywhere. The rate at which this fly multiply is a whole lot. So what you want to do is, you want to keep modifying your IPM strategies. Then introduce their natural enemies before you now move to the use of sticky card, which is physical preventions. Do you understand?
Good evening, sir. What are those practices we can put in place to increase the pH of our soil if our soil is being tested acidic?
So in simple terms, you make it your salt, but again, it is not your sodium salt because your plant does not like sodium. So what you want to use, naturally, your soluble nutrients is highly alkaline. So if you do the needful, you should not have issues. But where you have problem, the likes of calcium carbonates will work. The likes of wood ash will work. So that's why most of the time you see experts, before they grow, what they do is they make bed for their tomatoes. Then they sprinkle, not spread. They sprinkle wood ash on the bed. is intentional. Even those that are, those in the north, before they do any tomato production, they use wood ash. That's to loosen up the soil and allow for more alkalinity. Do you understand? So with that, your pH rises. But again, you have to be very careful. For those that maybe mistakenly, the English word for sprinkle is spread. If you spread, just spread it. There's an English word for it. Just watch over your pH. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't raise it too high. Remember, if you raise it too high, you will have issues with deficiencies. So you don't want to grow healthy tomatoes without fruits. You don't want to have good leaves, good stem, everything is looking so fresh, but no fruits. So you want to balance it out. Maintain 6, 5. Sometimes when you notice that you're having 1, 2 incidences of wilt, you increase it to 7. Do you understand? Okay. So, how many minutes? So that when we watch, I hope it will see. That was time. So thank you very much. I will answer.
Two major things that can cause the wilt, that is not fertigating or irrigating frequently, and the pH. When the pH is too low, like for me personally, my pH is between 6.5 to 7.2. I believe it's okay. Then I fertigate, like my soil is not dry, and for some weeks now, I've noticed my plant have been waiting. And it actually stopped for some days when I did not give them water for like 72 hours. But from yesterday, I started fertigating again and the waiting increased. So what would be the cause?
So you see, the two are just two ways they wilt. There are many other ways that you can have wilts in your greenhouse or on your crop. Be it tomatoes in your tomato crops. It could be before did you apply wood ash? Okay, if your pH is okay, again, many causal agents. So the wilt again might not be due to bacteria. If you check your roots, if you are seeing globular nodes, it could be nematode. Did you remove it and check? There are other causal things that happen. We've mentioned physical reasons. You not giving your plants water. What is actually happening to what is at the moment is overfeeding. Not due to them, but maybe because of drip tape issues and all. So if they close it outside, water still enters their drip tape. So their plants levitate on the water. That one will also cause wilts. But the best method for now to control all of these things is just to put these check and balances in place. There is no way you will not have, if you plant, say, bell pepper, because I love bell pepper. If you plant bell pepper in a vacuum, there is something you will have. There is a particular pest that will follow you to that vacuum. And that is what? Thrips. If you have one of the best greenhouses in the world, you will still have thrips. In fact, if you go on YouTube, there are research upon research that is being done on thrips. If you grow those flowers, you will have thrips. If you grow a banana, you will have thrips. That's the same thing with wilt. Wilt is widespread. But again, if there are 20 of you in a geographical locations, remember your farm, because you have a singular cohort, does not mean you have singular type of soil. You have zoning on your field. So there are some cases where the wilt incidence, Ralstonia, is higher on your plots. So you just want to tweak it. Again, even in that 192 square meter, what you have on one bed is different from what you might have on Faith is not here, Faith for 2 to 7. There's this particular house that when you plant, that particular bed always wilts. Whereas the others, they don't wilt. Still that same 192 square meter. It is called zoning. So what you want to do is you want to pay attention to that particular bed. You tweak it. That one might not even require 6 point something.